9 paper exemptions in ACCA. Sounds like a dream, right? But wait, what's the catch? In this video, we'll explore the pros and cons of pursuing ACCA through a 9-paper exemption model integrated in various colleges and universities. So if you're a 12th grade student or just starting off college, this may be one of the most important videos you may want to watch. The insights ahead could save you time, effort, and costly mistakes. So let's understand some of the pros of this model. Number one, I think the biggest pro of this model is that you start early and you finish early. Look, any BCom curriculum where ACCA curriculum is integrated and you're getting 9 exemptions, but obviously you will start it after class 12. By the time your 6 semesters of BCom are over, you would have finished the 9 exempted papers in your college, leaving the last 4 papers, which typically will happen 1 year after your graduation. So you start early and you finish early, which I think is a big pro. Second point I would say is that the overlap reduces substantially. You're not studying for BCom separately and ACCA separately. वही पेपर जो आपके BCom curriculum में आप पढ़ रहे हो वही ACCA का पेपर है typically, which is exempted, and plus of course there are a set of additional papers which are only for BCom. So I think because though that overlap reduces, number 3, I think it makes the life of a student very, very efficient, right? So I think time wise, effort wise, there is efficiency involved, no doubt about it. And number 4, I would say the pro is that you save on the cost of 9 papers, exam fees, because you're only appearing for the last 4 papers. तो वहाँ आपका पैसा थोड़ा सा बचता है. But having said that, you also need to look at the overall cost of doing this whole program, which sometimes turns out to be very expensive. I'll talk about it in a little while. Now let's talk about the cons. First and the most important, I would say, is poor ACCA exam readiness. I'll tell you, when ACCA exempts 9 papers, they believe that these papers are covered in absolute depth in your BCom curriculum. जैसे ACCA expect करता है आप actually उसको cover करो. Now unfortunately, in the various colleges and universities in India, most of the times these curriculums are not covered with that depth, right? And when they're not covered with that depth, then they're covered very quickly. Your conceptual foundation which you need through the curriculum is not developed, okay? So I think वो सबसे बड़ा issue होता है with the integrated model. Also, if I draw a parallel, अगर आप actually देखो तो ACCA 9 exemptions देता है to chartered accountants. Okay, now imagine a CA student getting 9 exemptions who's cleared up till final CA, and a BCom student also getting 9 exemptions. Now you can imagine the difference in the syllabus, right? So I think if you're going for this model, first you have to be damn sure कि आपका college or university वही depth और वही rigor से वो 9 papers cover कर रहा है, which in most cases doesn't happen. Number 2, the assessment style. Now if you look at the ACCA style of assessment, it's online exams, very application based exams, versus if you look at the way your colleges test in your BCom, it's a paper pen exam, and obviously the level of difficulty is not like the ACCA exams, clearly. अच्छा, ACCA exams में general pass rate 40 to 50% होता है, पर अगर आप अपना BCom curriculum देखो तो वहाँ पे आपका जो exams होता है, mostly students are passing, right? तो आप 9 papers तो clear हो जाते हो psychologically और 9 papers done, but are you at par and to standards of what ACCA expects? And then eventually what happens is when you actually go outside in the exam center and give your 10th or the 11th paper, which is the SBL SBR paper, that's where you get a heart attack, because number 1, you realize the depth that ACCA expected from those 9 papers has not got covered, and it's reflecting badly in your 10th and 11th paper. Secondly, you're not at all used to the exam style of doing ACCA. Suddenly in the 10th or 11th paper, an online exam will come. It will be another level of application exam, and those 9 papers that has been done in your college has not met up to expectations. So most students land up failing, okay? So psychologically in your mind, you're 9 papers done, but actually you are at day 0 if your college has not met those expectations. Number 3, the hidden costs. Now, while most students believe, of course, and I mentioned that in this program, you'll save on the cost to doing the 9 papers, which is obviously the exam fee of the 9 papers, and you'll only pay for the last 4 papers. But it is very important to understand the cost of doing this whole program. Now generally I've seen, again, in colleges and universities in India, ये बहुत expensive program होता है. मतलब आपको as a student assess करना है कि अगर आप BCom कर रहे हैं और साथ में ACCA पैरेलल कर रहे हैं, नॉन इंटीग्रेटेड, तो उन दोनों का कॉस्ट कितना होगा, वर्सेस आप 9 पेपर इंटीग्रेटेड मॉडल कर रहे हैं तो उसके BCom का कॉस्ट कितना है, प्लस आपको लास्ट 4 पेपर्स का तो एग्जाम फी लगने ही वाला है. और आप जब दोनों को कंपेयर करोगे, मोस्ट केसेस में मैंने देखा है दिस टर्न्स आउट टू बी फार मोर एक्सपेंसिव देन द फर्स्ट ऑप्शन. ओके, so you need to take a good assessment of that. Number 4, employers' skepticism. Now I tell you, this is a very common challenge in India, that suppose if as an employer, if I have one candidate who comes to me for an internship, the candidate is actually done ACCA skills level, बकायदा उसने FR, FM, PM, FM दिया है, उसके scores हैं ACCA के लिए. I know that guy knows the curriculum. I will give the guy internships after 9-10 papers, and then hopefully he'll clear the professional level and become an ACCA affiliate. On the other hand, if I have a candidate who comes to me who's finished his BCom and has 9 exempted papers, now I don't think I can assess both the candidates at par, because for me, the guy who's finished ACCA with 9 exempted papers, college ne to exemption de diya, but does he really know the fundamentals of the papers I expect him to know? Because that's what he's going to use in his job. And suppose I absorb him and he fails in the 10th, 11th paper, for me, there's nothing about ACCA. He's just a BCom guy. So naturally, I'm going to choose one over the other, right? So there is a big bottleneck and there is an issue with employers when it comes to a 9-paper exempted model, unless you are a chartered accountant. Like, you're still confused what works better. Still, you're not sure whether you should do a regular BCom and ACCA in parallel, or you should go for an integrated model in your college. Or you're not still sure of what's the overall cost outlay of doing both. You need to reach out to us. You can call us on the numbers, book a one-on-one appointment, and we'll exactly map what's the right path for you.